Da-da-da, da-da-da, da, da-da-da, da-da-dun, dun, da-da-dun, da-da-dun, dun, da-da-dun, da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da, bum, ba-da, bum, ba. Oh wait, shit, I'm recording. What it be, YouTube? It's your boy Ray Chan back at it again with another ramble. And today's ramble is going to be a follow-up video on the public domains, the superheroes from my first video that I made. And I wanted to follow up on it and basically kind of make a series out of it, specifically on the heroes, basically kind of talking about each superhero and what I can see them doing as, in their own standalone film or comic book series. And so for today's ramble, I want to start off with two of them, actually. I want to start off with Red Lightning and the Red Blazer. Because for my idea of these two, I'm picturing them as being brothers, if you will. And I'll explain a bit in more detail, if you don't mind sticking around and listening along. Red Lightning and Red Blazer. Let's start with their origin story, shall we? So, in terms of origin, I kind of explained the Red Blazers a little bit. He was just a guy bound down in, just some state on minding his own business until he met a guy, burying a spaceship. And then the guy kind of knocked him out with a little roofie or so, and then shot his ass into space for some odd reason. And he came back with superpowers after being exposed to some radiation. I mean, kind of basic, decentish little origin story, but I think we can do better. What I'm proposing for this idea is that they're brothers, like I said before. Two lads who were one day walking along a country road until they came across an abandoned barn, I mean. They decided to explore the barn out of pure curiosity, not knowing that this barn was secretly an alien spaceship in disguise. So, they enter the barn, and the disguise crumbles because one of the brothers triggers something, and so the ship gets launched into space. Now, in terms of how they get affected by this radiation, I'll explain why. Basically, a phenomenon that comes around and it hits the Earth's uppermost ozone layer every, I don't know, maybe like 40 years or so. And so every 40 years, the upper ozone layer of the planet gets hit by this special radiation. But due to the ozone layer, it blocks it and keeps it from getting any further to the planet. So one has to specifically go up into space past that layer in order to be hit by this radiation. And this is just what happened that this spaceship does. The spaceship goes up past that layer, and the two brothers in that ship gets hit by this special ray of radiation. And in turn, they become the Red Blazer and the Red Lightning, one getting the power of fire and the other lightning, respectively. Now, you might be wondering, why was this spaceship here in disguise, and how did this all come to be? Well, here's a good explanation. Turns out, a wealthy businessman who actually bought the land which this abandoned barn was on knew about the spaceship. And he was just waiting for the right time for these rays to come around so he can fly up there himself and get hit by these rays in order to get special powers, because he just wanted to see what would happen. And so he was super pissed when the two boys came back and stole his chance at getting these powers. As such, he became spiteful, he became villainous, and he wanted to get back at them. But he didn't want to wait another 40 years for these powers to come around. So, through careful planning, he was able to get some of their DNA, like a blood sample or something, and he was able to pull the radiation out of their blood or out of their DNA and put it in a gas chamber, to which he went into, inhaled the gas, kind of similar to the Green Goblin, if you will, and ended up giving himself the superpowers. In terms of what power he would get from this, I'm not quite sure. I decided, to kind of leave it at random. So, kind of like most superpowers, kind of like the Inhumans, the powers that they get are completely random. But me and a friend of mine were talking, and he proposed the idea of telekinesis. A simple power, move stuff with your mind. Not too much, not too complicated, but at the same time, the potential for it can be very devastating. And so I decided to run with it. Now, I don't exactly have a name for this villain yet. And, if I get, 4 likes and a few comments in this video and some, comment your idea for possible names, I might make a little ramble video about him, and kind of explain his own story a bit more and maybe build him up a bit more. But for now, we're just going to focus on the brothers. Now, for these brothers, they decided to use these powers for good because, well, they were raised to do good by their family. They're hardworking farm boys and they love their family and they love the land that they work for and they want to protect it. And so that is exactly what they sought out to do. They protect the land and they protect people wherever they can with their powers. I was thinking Red Blazer can probably be the stronger of the brothers, not in terms of like physical capabilities, but more so destructive capability due to the fact that he harnesses fire. Well, yes, lightning is pretty destructive. I believe I want Red Blazer to be the stronger of the two and just to harness more power. And so that in turn can sometimes lead for Blazer to get out of hand sometimes, and that will require his brother to drag him and keep him grounded. Just to create a little interesting dynamic between the brothers and, have them have their own personality and character. Where Blazer, sometimes he wants to be all brute force, blast his way through everything. So he requires his brother to be the logical of the two and to let his brother know, like, no, that's not a good idea. There's people here. We need to do it this way. So sometimes that can also create a rift or some tension between the two, which a story can play on that dynamic where some incident happens and the Blazer like finally understands, holy shit, I need to start being, the responsible brother now, But all in all, he'll keep this headstrong, stubborn, blast everything kind of attitude when it comes to fighting. And in turn, this can lead the telepathic guy to use that against him, where he can use his telekinesis to, like, say, turn a big attack against them, and that might get his brother critically injured. And so that would be the moment when he would have no choice but to wise up. At least that's my idea for, like, say, their first introduction movie, if you will. And they come as a package deal where if you want to recruit one brother, you got to recruit the other. And that's kind of like my movie pitch for Red Blazer and Red Lightning. In terms of, like, say, a duo name, who knows? Maybe like the Red Brothers? I mean, a little cheesy, yeah. But I mean, that's the whole point. This is going to be like, their golden era, their golden age stuff where, ideas just come and go, flip and flop, and we toss things at a wall and see what sticks and what doesn't. But I would really appreciate comments and, critiques, ideas. I just do this to spark conversation and just, to open the gates of ideas. So I would really love to see your ideas in the comment section, to let me know what you think of the two brothers and what you think you would do with them, or how we can work together to improve them. I will gladly respond to your comments with my own takes and your ideas, and if I get enough of them, I'll do a follow-up video. But all in all, this has just been your boy Ray Chan with another ramble, signing out. Peace.